and welcome to another video. So today I'm cleaning out the stables. It's still the middle of winter, but I can't wait for spring to do a spring clean. So we're going to start it early because winter is horrible, everything's covered in mud. So we're going to give it all a very nice clean. It's going to be a very satisfying video. So let's jump straight into it by showing you the tack room and the state of it at the minute. Okay, so we're starting with the tack and feed room, which you guys have seen me clean before, but look at the state of it. There is just so much rubbish everywhere and it all just needs sorting. So over here is like the tack side where we have various tack which obviously needs to be out. That side's not too bad, and then you come over here and it kind of just all goes very pear-shaped because this is the feed room section of our little indoor bit in the barn. So this all needs dealing with. Even all of these bits that had been nicely organised are now very much not nicely organised. So let's get cracking. There's quite a lot of work to do, so we shall see. I'm also going to be doing outside and tackling some of this, but that is a job for tomorrow, so you'll see that a bit later on in the video. Okay, so first things first, all of these bins that are looking especially grubby need to go. This is all going to be cleaned off and I need them outside so that I've got a nice clean space on the floor for me to brush up, hoover up, get all that done, and then start scrubbing everything down. So as I said, I just started by removing everything out and giving the tack room a bit of a sweep up as I went along. Now the bins that I'd removed, as you can see, are in a terrible state because we put a lot of the buckets and things on top of them, so they get quite dirty, and we also accidentally kick them quite often when we're getting feed out and things like that, and obviously with muddy boots. So we needed to give them a clean, so I'm just using some disinfectant to wash them down and just to remove all the grime and the dirt. Now luckily I do this quite often normally, so I keep on top of it. If you watch my previous cleaning videos, they've been much dirtier than this. In the summer I normally wash them outside, give them a thorough wash inside and out, but obviously with it being winter they won't dry. So what I'm going to do today is just wipe them all down and then quickly dry them with a towel, and that's why I'm just doing the outside for today. But look how much better that looks. So much cleaner. It's literally sparkling clean, whereas before it was absolutely disgusting. And I don't know about you guys, but I find these videos really satisfying to watch. I just love to see it all nice and clean and tidy and just so much better. And you'll see later in the video I actually headed to Ikea to buy some new storage units, so that's exciting. I've got big plans for the tack room to come, but for now we're just giving it a bit of a midwinter spruce up. And there we go, the finished bins looking much cleaner and tidier. It's just, it's so satisfying to just have everything nice and clean. We are going to eventually replace these bins anyway, because they're a bit mismatched, but for now they will do the job. So once I'd finished the bins, I then moved on to inside, and we have this little storage here that we use to put rugs in, and this is where my mum puts the buckets to mix the feed, so it gets very dirty. So I just started by firstly sweeping off all the excess feed and the excess mud from the buckets being on top of it, and again gave that a good squirt down with disinfectant, left that a few minutes to do its job, and then started scrubbing away. Now this is what I find really satisfying, just getting rid of all of that dirt. And having horses, you're just so caked in mud in the winter that everything around you just becomes caked in dirt and mud. So I love getting everything nice and clean and ready for spring. I just feel like it's like the start of a new year and everything just needs to be nice and clean. And it makes me feel so much better. I'm one of those people that when sort of I've got a lot of things going on, I like to clean and get organised, and it just makes me feel a lot more calmer and a lot more, everything's sorted. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. And there you go, you can see how much cleaner and brighter and lovelier that is. Obviously it needs another coat of paint, but we'll get to that eventually. So then moving on to this little storage unit that has our CCTV, and we keep all the paint bits and bobs on here. It always looks kind of not tidy. I want this eventually to be kind of like closed away somewhere, but for now I just thought I'd give it all a wipe down and a tidy, and I'll just organise all of the paint items once this has been nice and cleaned. So one tip for organising a tack room is I use old grooming boxes to put a lot of the items in, because these are great because obviously they close shut so everything doesn't get dusty. So that's what I did, and this is the finished little section after I'd given it a tidy and just, you know, sort of organised it a little bit more. And then I moved on to the tack section, and basically I just kind of moved everything into one corner and swept up, because there wasn't really much organising to do over there. It was just that things had sort of moved and slightly gradually gone into different sections, so I just trying to move that back to where it was. And then for the rest of the tack room, I just needed to give everything a wipe down. Nothing was too bad at this point because I did clean it not too long ago, but everything just was a little bit dusty and a little bit grubby. So I just got some warm water and soap and just gave everything a nice wipe down, because again, this is all going to be changing soon, so I need to keep it in good nick for now. But I won't be revealing any plans at the moment. You guys will have to wait and see what happens with the tack room. Now, because we all love a good colour match, the lovely people over at Red Gorilla have kindly sent me some of their new stack and stores, and I'm going to be using these today to help me tidy away and organise all of the horses' bits and bobs. Now, they've come in lots of beautiful different colours, and they've sent me quite a few. So what I'm actually going to do is shortly head over to Ikea to get some shelving units to pop these guys on. So I'll just show you what they look like. So they're a really nice solid tub. They're made out of the classic Red Gorilla sort of like material. It's a bit harder than the normal flexibles, so it's nice and rigid and keeps its shape. It's got lots of handles, which is perfect, and you can stack these on top of each other if you want, rather than actually having to buy a shelving unit, which is just fantastic. So that's what they look like when you do so. So I'm very excited to be able to organise everything, and obviously I can colour coordinate it because they've sent me so many beautiful colours of this. So I'm very, very excited about that. What do you think, Chill? You're going to help me organise them? Look at that face. You silly bean. Which, guys, let me know in the comments below, guys, which is your favourite colour. Do you like pink, Chill? Is that your favourite? So there's the yellow, purple, that's just the blue one. That's pistachio green, pink, red, and then there's the light blue. I can't decide. I really, really like this pistachio green. That might have to be a favourite. What do you think, Chill? Blue. So off we pop to Ikea. Now at the minute with Ikea you can still go to collect items, so what we did is we just did a click and collect. So I ordered the items online, and then we drove to go and pick them up, and it's all very like COVID secure. You get there and ring a number and they bring the items out to the car, they step back and you just put them all in your car, which I thought was super easy. And also normally walking around Ikea takes forever, so this was actually much quicker just to go and pick them up. So I did like that. Now the items that I've bought from Ikea are for the storage tubs. So the stack and store Red Gorilla tubs are going to go in here. So I got them home and popped them on the tractor and then headed round to the stables to put them up. Now the two items that I've bought are two Calyx shelving units. So these are the little squares that you can get from Ikea that are like little, there's one that's a stand-up shelf and one that's like a square shelving unit. You'll see them in a minute when I make them. So I just headed right round to the stables and started unpacking these. I never know how to like actually unpack Ikea things, they just seem really difficult. And luckily, since I've bought a house recently, I am an absolute master in building IKEA furniture now. So I soon got the drill out. It says just use a screwdriver, but I found from my many IKEA building sessions that I've had that it's much quicker to get a drill out to build things. It's just easier. So that's what I did. And this is the taller unit. So this is going to go inside the tack room. The other unit is actually for outside. But it was actually super simple to build. I built it myself. I didn't require any assistance because it's nice and light as well. So I definitely recommend this if you're looking for some storage solutions for your tack room. I actually have this in my house as well. I've got 2 of them in my house. So that's actually where I got the inspiration from for this. And there we go, that is a built unit, so you can have it on its side like this, but as you'll see, I pop it into the tack room and I'm going to have it stood up, and that's how it's going to look in there. So now that it's in, all that I need to do is get the boxes ready to put in it. Now I'm going to be putting 3 stack and store tubs in this. So the first one is having all of the fly spray items in it. Now obviously at the moment we don't need these, so it's nice to have somewhere to put them away, and also in the summer we will still be putting them away. So I've got empty, well nearly empty, fly spray bottles and our sun cream, and it's basically just all the items that we use during the day in summer, and sort of a measuring jug for when we measure out and sometimes dilute our fly spray depending on which one we're using, whether we're using DEET or the power phaser, and that's a Shoshin bottle, but we actually use like empty ones of those for the fly spray as well. And it all fitted in quite nice. I just had to have a bit of a jiggle about, and then the lids are really clever. They kind of like lock on to keep the shape of the tub, and I've also checked that these fit perfectly into the calyx unit, so I definitely recommend it if you are looking for storage solutions. So moving on to my blue tub, in here is going to be where medications and supplements go. So we've got things like Butte going in here, we've got a few medications that we've either got spare lying around, you know, that we haven't used yet. And then we've also got some supplements that are going to go in here. So also Chilli's Piriton that he has every day. We've got some treacle and some things like that, just for if we ever need to give them meds and they don't want to take it, and a few spoons for crushing up any meds, and some folic acid tablets as well that Lucy and Danny are on. And that is that tub done, so I just need to pop the lid on and then they can go into my storage unit. And look how smart this looks. I absolutely love it. It looks so good. You'll see a bit of a closer up image of that later on though, when I give you a full tour of the finished tack room. So once I'd done that, all that was really left to do was just to sort out my saddle pads. So this is the wardrobe that I made in my last sort of organisation video, and there were just a few saddle pads that were kind of like sticking out and things like that. So I just wanted to organise them and make sure that they were all put away. A few people have asked me to do a saddle pad collection video. Now I don't think I have a massively extensive collection of saddle pads compared to other YouTubers, so I've never really made one, but if you want me to make one, let me know in the comments below. It might not be the most exciting, but I do have a larger collection than I did before because I did splurge a little bit in the summer, so I could do that. Let me know if that's something you want to see. So now moving outside the tack room, we have this space which I call my mum's clutter corner, and it basically keeps all of the boots, but as you can see it's looking pretty dated. It looked quite good when we first made it, but everything gets very dusty in here and it's just not working anymore. It just needs a bit of a clean and an update, so that's what we're going to do today. So to replace the sort of green storage unit we've got with the boots in, I'm going to be building the square calyx unit. Now this was a bit harder to make. I still managed to build it all on my own, as I do with most Ikea furniture. It wasn't particularly difficult, it's just that sometimes when you're having to try and balance it, I kind of nearly dropped it a few times. So yeah, maybe I don't do that. Also, building it in the middle of my tack room and not much space didn't really help, so it wasn't the easiest, but it wasn't particularly difficult either. But as you can see, this is a square unit still containing the 4 sections, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. I just had a few of the last bolts to put in the top. Now it is slightly smaller than what we had previously, but I think it'll still work absolutely fine. And yes, I know white is a risky colour, but hopefully it'll stay that way if we wipe it down often enough. So then once it was all built, I just had to go and pop it outside. It already made me feel so much happier that it was just so much cleaner. And then obviously I've got to sort my boxes out for it and decide what's going in them. Now the boots were looking pretty dirty because they've been sat out in the dust for quite a while now, so they all needed a good brush down, so that's what I did. Some of them I took round to the house to actually pop in the washing machine, but the ones that we're probably not likely to use too often or too soon, I've just brushed down, or if they weren't looking too grubby, again I've just brushed them down just to get rid of the majority of the dust, because most of it was just dust. And then obviously the ones that we're not going to use for a while, I'll just wash them when they're required rather than having to do them all now. So in this first purple box, I think I'm going to put all the overreach boots in here, of which we have many, and we also had an odd number, which I don't really know how we managed to get an odd number of boots, but we always seem to manage it. We had an odd number of brushing boots as well, but I don't ask questions. My mum's a bit of a hoarder with boots, because my mum generally looks after all the tack around at the stables, because some of it she's had for absolutely years, like I'm talking pre-me years, but she looks after it so well that normally she can keep it for years on end with it being leather. So normally she deals with like the tack and things, because she's got so much stuff I don't know what half of it is. But I decided to take over and sort the boots out today, because they were driving me insane walking past them every day. So this is what we put in the first box anyway. I'll stop rambling, and then I just chucked some magnetic hock boots on top. Then for the next box, I chose this nice light blue colour. I really like this colour. This might become my second favourite to the pistachio green. Now in here, I'm going to put the array of brushing boots we have, because, you know, who doesn't need 7 million pairs of brushing boots? Us, apparently. But yeah, so we did have quite a few, and they were all the same size as well. They were all the large ones, so I don't know where all the ponies ones are. But anyway, I put our array of various brushing boots in this box, so that was that one all finished. And finally onto my favourite colour, which is the pistachio green. In here we're going to be putting these summer items. So these are the UV protection boots / fly boots, and also a few of the fly masks. Now most of the fly masks are hung up outside their stables normally, or they're in storage at the moment in the house, but that was just my little summer box all done. Then I just had to pop them all into place. This is actually my favourite bit, because you finally get to see it all come together and look amazing. I absolutely love the fact that these boxes fit these units perfectly. It's just, it makes my heart happy. Little things please me, very little things. And I also chose all the sort of summery colours for out here, so I absolutely love this. I just think it looks so much better than that cluttered cupboard. It's so nice and clean, and also really easy to keep clean, because everything can just be wiped down, so it's absolutely perfect. And that's just a closer look of what it looks like. So that is the finished look. Now I've decided to make some labels for this. So I have what's called a Dynamo. It's an embosser label maker, and it's really brilliant. It just, whatever you want, you just twirl it around to the number that you want, letter even, and it impresses it onto the bit of sticky tape. So this is for the brushing boots. Now, and this is my first time using the Dynamo, and they look really like complex, but it's actually the simplest thing ever. So I was super impressed with it. So once I'd made all of the labels for the various boxes, I then went ahead and stuck them on just so that we knew what they were. I know it's kind of self-explanatory, there's only 4 boxes, but when you have a lot of tack like I do, I like to keep on top of it all, and just, if everything's labelled, it's so much easier and simpler. And also, I do love a good label, so any excuse to organise. So there we go, they are my 4 boxes all finished with labels, and it just makes me happy. Now, the last thing that I had to do was clean the grubby door to the tack room. I don't even know how a door gets this dirty. Like, how does a metal door get this dirty? I honestly don't know. So I just washed it down with a bit of disinfectant and some warm water, and just gave it a good old scrub down, because it literally was just like surface dirt. I still don't know how it got on it. I think because we hang the rugs up next to it, like a lot of the mud and things must have splattered on the door from those, and it's just not something you think of to wash a door. But I'm so glad I did. Like, you can see the dirt on the cloth. It was just filthy, absolutely filthy, but it looked so much better when it was done. It was literally shining, and it was just the perfect finishing touch. So during the winter, the horses' feed buckets get pretty manky. I mean, just look at the state of them, and they've had these buckets quite a long time now, so they're looking pretty old. And yeah, in need of a really good scrub. Normally I just give them a scrub, and they do come up really well, but instead of doing that, I've cheated slightly, and the lovely people at Red Gorilla have sent me some new ones. So each horse has got their assigned colour. So we'll go through them and I'll show you which is which. So the little one is obviously Caramel's, and then the pink one is Lucy's. Then Taffy is the same, he's always been purple. Then we've got Chilli's, that one. Danny's orange. And then last but not least, we've got Charlie, aka Chunk, and he's pistachio green. So there we go, those are all the nice new buckets ready to be made up for their feeds this evening. So let's go pop those back in the feed room. And goodbye old dirty buckets. I will still use these, I'll just clean them up and they can be spares. And these can sit on top of my nice new shelf. There we go. So all that's left to do now is label these up with my new label maker. So that is everything nice and clean and done. I'm just going to give you a walk around now. So I've organised all of this section so that it's more in this corner and there's nothing else on the floor here. So that's all nice and done. This section I've gone through and organised and just made a lot cleaner, and everything's had a wipe down. Then over here we've obviously got where the saddle pads and everything are, and then my new unit. And I've also put labels on these boxes. So that one's my bits and bobs. In here we've got supplements. Down there we've got fly spray. And then finally in the bottom there's just some lickets that the horses have at the big tubs. Then over here are our nice clean bins. And our nice clean buckets ready for the feeds later this evening. And then up there we just got our supplements. I've wiped down that shelf and tidied all that up. And then we've got a few other bits here. That's all nice and lovely and clean. And then I've organised this shelf. No more dust or anything like that. And then again I've put some spare rugs in here. So all my rugs are away now. So there we go, guys. That is the completed tack room, nice and clean and tidy. So guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I am planning a bit of a revamp and complete remakeover in here. So this has just been a tidy up for now. So keep an eye out for that. I absolutely love my stack and store tubs. This is going to make life so much easier and so much more organised. So a massive thank you to Red Gorilla for sending those to me. Don't forget guys, I upload a video every single Friday and sometimes during the week if you're lucky. So be sure to subscribe, like and turn on that bell icon so you get a notification every single time I post. I'll see you next week guys. Bye!